The rain tapped gently against the museum's tall glass windows, weaving a soft rhythm against the silence of the night. Inside the Holloway Museum of Art, the Portraits of Hope exhibition was in full swing. Visitors from across the city had come to witness Evelyn Ross's newest collection, paintings that captured the soul behind every face. But among all the masterpieces, one painting drew people like a magnet: the girl with the golden smile. She was stunning, not because of perfection, but because of depth. Her eyes told a story no one could fully understand, eyes that held pain but refused to lose their sparkle. Every visitor paused before her, wondering who she was. Yet Evelyn, the artist, always gave the same mysterious reply: she's someone I lost and found at the same time. When the lights dimmed and the crowd dispersed, the museum fell into a peaceful hush. The janitor, Samuel, began his nightly routine, mopping, dusting, and softly humming old hymns that only he seemed to remember. He was an older man, gentle in manner, with eyes that carried the quiet wisdom of someone who had seen too much of life. As he moved past the portraits, his gaze landed on the girl with the golden smile. He froze. The mop slipped from his hands, water spilling across the marble floor. His breath caught in his throat. Those eyes, that expression, it couldn't be. He stepped closer, trembling. No, he whispered to himself. It can't be. Evelyn, who was still in the room finishing paperwork, turned at the sound. Sir, are you all right? Samuel didn't answer at first. His voice trembled when he finally spoke. Ma'am, the girl in that painting, she lived with me in the orphanage. Evelyn blinked, confused. I'm sorry. He took a step closer, his eyes never leaving the painting. That's Clara. I knew her when she was just a little girl. She loved drawing, used to sit by the window sketching with broken pencils. Said she'd paint the world one day so people wouldn't feel forgotten. His voice softened. I ran the orphanage for 20 years. Clara was the brightest light we ever had. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. You knew Clara, she whispered. I raised her, Samuel said. But she was adopted when she was 10. I never saw her again. I always wondered what became of her. For a long, silent moment, Evelyn just stood there, staring at the man who unknowingly held a piece of her own past. Then, in a trembling voice, she said, Samuel, you did see her again. He frowned, confused. What do you mean? She turned toward the portrait, her voice quivering. Because I'm Clara. Samuel's jaw dropped. The mop clattered again. What? When I was adopted, they changed my name to Evelyn. But I never forgot where I came from. I painted her, me, because I wanted to remember the girl who dreamed in that orphanage. The one who believed that kindness could change a life. Samuel's eyes filled with emotion. All these years, you were right there. I kept this place clean, watched your name rise in magazines, and never knew you were my little Clara. Evelyn smiled through tears. You gave me my first paintbrush, remember? You told me, paint the world brighter than it feels. I still have that brush. She opened her satchel and carefully took out a small, worn paintbrush, its handle faded, bristles uneven but lovingly kept. It's the only thing I've never replaced, she said softly. Samuel's lips trembled. You kept it. I kept you, Evelyn whispered. In my heart, every time I painted, I heard your voice reminding me to never stop believing. The old man's eyes glistened as he whispered, I just wanted you kids to feel like you mattered. I never thought one of you would grow up to paint something that would move the whole world. They stood there in silence, the air heavy with unspoken gratitude. The years between them seemed to fade away. The orphanage walls, the laughter of children, the scent of wet paint on paper, it all came rushing back. Evelyn turned toward the portrait again. I called it the girl with the golden smile because I wanted to remember hope, not pain. That little girl smiled even when she had nothing. She reminded me what real strength looks like. Samuel smiled softly. And now you remind others of it. A tear slid down Evelyn's cheek. Would you let me paint you, Samuel? Not as a janitor, but as the man who gave a lost girl her dream. He chuckled quietly. I don't belong in fancy galleries. Yes, you do, she said, her voice firm but tender. Because without you, there wouldn't be one. A few weeks later, when the exhibition reopened, there was a new addition beside the girl with the golden smile. The second painting showed an elderly man holding a broom in one hand and a paintbrush in the other, his eyes filled with warmth and kindness. The plaque beneath it read, The man with the gentle hands, dedicated to Samuel, who believed in art, in kindness, and in me. Visitors stopped and stared, moved to tears. Some whispered prayers, others simply smiled through their emotion. Two portraits, one of a child, one of her guardian, hung side by side, forever telling the story that sometimes, the smallest act of compassion can plant a seed that blossoms across generations. Evelyn and Samuel sat quietly in the corner that evening, watching people's faces light up as they stood before the paintings. You see, she whispered, kindness doesn't fade, it just changes its frame. And in that moment, both understood something profound. Fame and fortune might come and go, but the love you give, selflessly, silently, without expectation, can turn an orphan's dream into art that touches the world.